Hey there, everyone. Happy July. We are just past the weekend after Canada Day. It was either a long weekend after Canada Day or before Canada Day for some. I don't know. Actually, some people I know had long weekends, both weekends. So here we are, your friends of the Prime Real Estate team. Daniel is here.
Oh,
We have Megan is busy doing some pre-wedding preparations. I know Afraz is out in the field right now as well, but we wanted to get this report out to you guys in a timely manner. How's things, Daniel? We were just talking before I hit record here. Things are happening, huh?
things are happening, but you're quite accurate about a bit of a strange week, right? Because I had clients last weekend tell me it was a Canada Day weekend. I had clients this weekend tell me it was a Canada Day weekend. So falling right in the middle of the week was kind of a funny one.
Yeah.
But also busy at the same time. So had
Uh-huh.
two properties sell during that week, which we had just listed. Wasn't a ton of interest, but it was just right, and we got a buyer on each, and off we went. So
Well, and then I had one last night that went live today, and yet I had two offers on it yesterday because we were able to get a couple of people through. So bidding war, multiple offer on something that wasn't even on the market yet. When asked by the owner, why is this happening? Sometimes it's just the right people at the right time is a confluence of a whole bunch of things, not the least of which is one of them had just sold their house and they're desperate to find something they can move into quickly because this is an empty house, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on.
yeah, perfect
Yeah.
buyer, perfect place.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I just want to do a quick review here, folks, about what has been happening out there in the marketplace. Won't spend too much time because of the fact that, of course, you can read this information on your own as well, too. It's all out there. But basically, in summary, the market, it's the same as always. It's just kind of plugging away. Number of sales, we are down from this time last year, down 7.6%, sorry, 5.5% altogether. Average prices shows on an average down 2.9%, down to for a single family house in Greater Victoria, 1,282,414. Not a lot of change. Definitely not the drops that some people are hoping for. And I got to say, though, too, when we think about these competing offers and multiple offers that we've been involved in the last month or so, there's been a lot of houses that are selling above list price. So it balances out. One sell over list, long-term properties that haven't sold sometimes are taking drops. That's just kind of how it all works out. As far as listings are concerned, we're up 7.3%. Still a great time. I think the message out there for many has been that interest rates are probably as low as they're going to be for the next little bit. There's still choices out there. There's still some properties that you can work on. Ones have been sitting around where the seller's interested in talking. But then again, still competing offers too. Daniel, what I want to do now is chat about this tour. I missed a tour because I was not in town, but there is a tour of all of the small scale multi-unit housing developments in the sort of Oak Bay area. Tell us about how it was.
The smooth.
The smooths, yes,
Yeah, quite an acronym.
yes.
Yeah, small scale, missing middle housing, blah, blah, blah. So last week, a bunch of groups that are building those put together a tour of eight different ones, mostly in Oak Bay. I think they were all in Oak Bay, actually,
Mhm.
kind of spread out between north and south.
Yeah, Cabra Bay
Um,
Road, the two on Henderson, Hamiota, Island
and
Road probably too, right?
yeah, you've got most of them there. St.
Yep.
Patrick.
Yep.
There was a good mix between, some that were quite, let's call them upper end, around $2 million, two-story with an elevator. There were some that were being targeted more for, I wouldn't call it the lower end, but let's call it for South Oak Bay, the starter area, which was 1.3 kind of thing.
Mhm.
They were almost all two, three bedrooms. Most of them were three bedrooms. Diversity in product. I think what stuck out to me and most of the people touring was there's a huge difference in layout. And when you get the layout right, it sure seems to make a big difference in people coming. Location is always key,
Mhm.
but some of them are quite narrow and touristy, turny stairs. And this market is either often young family or downsizer. Downsizer wants maybe two stories and kind of open. Young family doesn't want spaces too small. So when you kind of hit everything right, some of them were having some sales,
Mhm.
but some of them were sitting quite a bit too, and great areas of town, nice looking finishing, but just sitting. So
Mhm.
a lot of that in my mind looked like some layout thought processes. And then of course, price.
Mhm.
Price is just key to everything these days. It's I've heard the word many times recently, a thin market.
Mm.
So you have to kind of get that price just right because there's a thin little line of buyers, but if you miss it a little too high, you kind of miss it. So
This is
you
the
got to fish right at that right depth.
This is the tricky thing because we know the math, and it's funny because people often talk about, well, how is this affordable housing? Well, if you want a new product in an area like South Oak Bay or North Oak Bay Henderson, um, it is affordable. I hate to say it, right? There's
Yeah.
no other way to get something in those neighborhoods that is new, for one
No.
four or whatever it is. But on the flip side, I get it because at that price point, you're competing with other choices. You can buy a detached house just a few blocks away, needing some work, at that price point, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you want yourself a fancy high-rise condo downtown, something that's got ocean views. There's options.
Right. And it also just kind of pointed out to me that just because you have a property that can be a missing middle, which is everywhere these days,
Hmm.
it still has to be the right property. Like
Yeah.
these people that are trying to put them in on the smaller lots and making these very tight units, it's just not working. So you need
Well,
a property that is at least a certain size with good access for driveways, and you need a few things.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting. We're at that moment right now where the bow's got to break. It hasn't, there's been a couple of sales. So you said Hemiota's got two, right?
Miota's got two. Cabaret Bay Road's got one. I think one of the ones on Henderson had one.
Yeah.
The one
The
that was
people
quite
just moved
nice on
in. I saw them move
Henderson,
in last week. Yeah.
right? The one that I thought was quite nice on Henderson had no sales at this point. So if
That's the one
anyone's looking
everyone
for a
talks
nice
about.
one, yeah, it's a two-story, really nicely done private backyard, and they had no sales, but it was one of the nicer ones on tour. So
Yeah. So
yeah.
again, folks, just very interesting for anyone. If you know someone who's thinking about or curious about these small scale multi-unit housing units out there, there's a selection of them. I think I'd be cautious as a builder and a developer. There's not a lot of meat on the bone there. Like we know the math because, for instance, one of them on Henderson, the land was bought for 1.4. Those units right now, all four of them are at 1.5. And from the outside, you might say, "Well, that's $6 million on 1.4. That's a good turn." Well, we got to figure out what the cost to build is and all of these things. There's not a lot of margin, right?
No, no, there isn't a ton. Like you'll see if they've got to make a price reduction, they'll quickly be losing their profit.
Just like that. Well,
Yeah.
anyways, folks, again, if you got questions about these, we are happy to chat. And getting back to the summary of the market, things are happening. It feels like it's been a later market this year. We're not
Mhm.
necessarily this kind of busy in the summertime. I know transaction wise, we're down a little bit, but there's certain pockets where there's just a lot of stuff going on. And that's what we're finding. But as always, if you got any questions, you want to chat, let us know. I will put the information package in the email here as well. And as always, too, folks, if you know somebody who would like this information or wants to be on our monthly mailing list, just let us know. Happy to put them on. Daniel, we'll be here this time next month, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Great. See you then.
Okay.